Here is a curated selection of high-yield question and answer pairs, focusing on core concepts, mechanisms, and contemporary environmental frameworks. 1. Environmental pollution and mechanisms. Q1. Explain the phenomenon of biomagnification and distinguish it from bioaccumulation. Provide a classic chemical example. Answer. Bioaccumulation refers to the gradual buildup of a contaminant or toxic chemical inside the tissues of a single organism over time, occurring because the rate of intake exceeds the organism's ability to excrete or metabolize the substance. Biomagnification, or bioamplification, is the progressive increase in the concentration of a toxin at successive trophic levels of a food chain. It requires the pollutant to be long-lived, persistent, lipophilic, fat-soluble, and biologically active. A classic example involves the organochlorine pesticide DDT, dichlorodiphenyl-trichloroethane. When sprayed, it enters aquatic ecosystems at very low concentrations. In top predators like eagles and pelicans, these high concentrations interfere with calcium metabolism, leading to thin eggshells that break during incubation, causing severe population declines. Q2. What is eutrophication? Outline the structural changes an aquatic ecosystem undergoes during this process. Answer. Eutrophication is the ecosystem response to the addition of artificial or natural substances, such as nitrates and phosphates, through fertilizers or sewage, to an aquatic system. The structural degradation follows a specific sequence. 1. Nutrient loading. Runoff introduces high concentrations of nitrogen, N, and phosphorus, P, which act as limiting nutrients in aquatic environments. 2. Algal bloom. A rapid proliferation of phytoplankton and algae occurs at the surface, creating dense mats. 3. Light limitation. The thick algal blanket blocks sunlight from reaching submerged aquatic vegetation, halting benthic photosynthesis and causing deeper plants to die. 4. Oxygen depletion, hypoxia. As the surface algae die, aerobic bacteria decompose the massive load of organic matter. This process consumes dissolved oxygen, DO, rapidly, driving concentrations below critical levels, typically less than 2 mg per liter. 5. Anoxic collapse. Fish and other mobile organisms either flee or suffocate. Anaerobic bacteria take over, releasing toxic gases like hydrogen sulfide, H_2S, and methane, CH_4, leaving a degraded low biodiversity dead zone. 2. Soil and atmospheric degradation. Q3. How does photochemical smog form, and what are its primary chemical components? Answer. Photochemical smog is a secondary air pollution layer that develops in warm, sunny urban areas with high automobile density. It is driven by solar ultraviolet, UV radiation, interacting with primary pollutants. The mechanism. Primary pollutants like nitrogen oxides, NO_X, and volatile organic compounds, VOCs, are emitted from vehicle exhausts. Under intense sunlight, nitrogen dioxide, NO_2, photolyzes. The highly reactive free oxygen atom, O-bullet, quickly binds with ambient molecular oxygen, O_2, to form ground-level trophic ozone, O_3. Simultaneously, NO reacts with VOCs to produce peroxy radicals, which inhibit the normal destruction of ozone, letting it accumulate. Primary components. Ozone, O_3, a powerful respiratory irritant that also damages plant tissue. PANS, peroxyacetyl nitrates, highly toxic compounds that cause severe eye irritation and damage photosynthetic machinery in crops. Acrolein and formaldehyde, pungent volatile aldehydes contributing to the haze and toxicity. Q4. Detail the process of soil salinization and explain why it is prevalent in semi-arid regions with intensive agriculture. Answer. Soil salinization is the accumulation of water-soluble salts, such as sodium chloride, magnesium sulfate, and calcium sulfate, in the topsoil layer to levels that inhibit plant growth. In arid and semi-arid regions, rainfall is insufficient to leach salts down through the soil profile. When intensive agriculture introduces heavy surface irrigation without adequate drainage, the following happens. 1. The excess irrigation water percolates downward and merges with the local water table, causing it to rise toward the surface. 2. As the water table approaches the root zone, capillary action draws the saline groundwater up into the topsoil. 3. High ambient temperatures cause rapid evaporation of this surface water, leaving behind the dissolved salts as a crusty white residue on the soil surface. High salinity alters the osmotic potential of the soil, making it incredibly difficult for plant roots to draw in moisture, effectively causing physiological drought even in wet soil. 3. Conservation principles. Q5. Differentiate between in situ and ex situ conservation strategies, providing specific examples for each. Answer. Feature: in situ conservation, on-site. Ex situ conservation, off-site. Definition: protecting an endangered plant or animal species within its natural habitat or ecosystem. Protecting an endangered species outside its natural habitat by removing it from threatened areas. Primary focus: preserves the species along with the network of ecological interactions and evolutionary processes. Focuses heavily on target species survival, captive breeding, and genetic preservation. Cost and scale: highly cost-effective for large populations and covers whole communities simultaneously. Highly resource-intensive, requiring specialized facilities and continuous human management. Examples: national parks, wildlife sanctuaries, biosphere reserves and sacred groves, botanical gardens, zoos, seed banks, cryopreservation units, and gene banks.